Hello, my friends. I hope you are all well today. I was having quite a lot of fun watching that little Christmas party blast from the past reminisce time with the boys over at Credence and Mikey, but it is time to start our evening festivities because we have a bit to watch. Now, I did flip through YouTube earlier and saw that Colin might be showing this as well, which is totally fine because it's all cart and that's all good. So, but I haven't watched it yet. I would love to watch it with you. So let's we're gonna get into some TPO hearings from Thurston County. They just happened today. And before we start, however, I would love it if you would tell me what you had for dinner. If you didn't like what you had for dinner, go ahead and tell me what you wish you had for dinner. Philip, how are you doing in Australia? How's the future? How is it still having Kmart? We don't have Kmart anymore, and we're sad. Um, Hi, Lisa B. Sometimes it's hard when you have friends come from the past and you've been friends for a long time to transfer that into an entertaining show for everybody. I really enjoyed it, but I've been watching a lot of the old shows, the lore that's involved, so I understand that. Like I said, tell me what you had for dinner. If you didn't like what you had for dinner, tell me what you wish you had for dinner. I want, I don't know what I want yet. You're eating lasagna for lunch. Wow. Now, is that the first round of lasagna that you're eating, or is this leftovers lasagna? Because to me, lunch would be um, you know, the leftover lasagna. You wouldn't eat the first round of lasagna wouldn't be had in at lunch. But you know what? Some people are different than that. You guys, I was playing around earlier with this AI thing. Look at what I found. Look at what I made. Look how pretty I look. Oh my God. Shit. If only I could actually do my makeup like that, right? It actually makes me look quite hideous when I'm right beside it. Like without me there, it's like, wow, she's so pretty. But when you put the real thing beside her, ay, 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 ay. Anyways, I just thought that was quite funny. It just takes the picture and makes it into, I don't know, some sort of art. Something that I can't do. We'll put it that way. Um, First time lunch anytime. I got it. I got it. Chris, thank you for being here. Thank you for all your comments. Oh, Dina, you're so sweet. Prettier in real life. I don't know. They fixed my eyebrows. Sort of. You can tell they're different, but they did do a little fixing on there. Um, I was having some fun playing with that last night. It looks like a 60s housewife ad. You think so? Uh, yeah, I was having some. If I looked like that, you would date me. I don't know how to take that. I think that just means you wouldn't date me now. Don't know, Bradley. Whatever. Kmart is a variety store in Australia. Yeah. We don't call them variety stores, but I believe that Kmart would be a variety store here too, to be honest with you. As in, it sells a variety of home goods, or it used to. Doesn't anymore. When I was, well, Lisa, I'm gonna try and make that happen in my next AI image creation. I will add that request and see if I can make some 60s style um, ads. That would be fun, actually. Last night, I got to recording some of our what we're going to be doing for New Year's. I recorded some lip syncing videos, which I actually found really funny because you may not like, I don't know music very well, so I had to get some help in picking the songs to do and the lyrics to do. And then, of course, I decided what I would do is I would read them 3 times and then we'll watch it on mute. So we'll just watch my lips go. But what I recognized was that when you know a song versus when you just read the words is like a totally different vibe. So I'm having to decide on how we approach the game that we're going to play. But the whole point and hopefully goal will be to have like a lip syncing sort of thing that we look at on New Year's and play a game with, play along with. I think I picked the wrong latency, which is why the stream is so jumpy, which I'm super, super glad about. Not. Can I change that while I'm live, do you think? Oh, I don't think I can. I didn't think I can. Oh well. I guess that's what we'll have to deal with. Uh, Sucks though. I picked the wrong one. And it was working before. A lot better. Anyways, like I said, we're going to be watching some protective order from Thurston County. I think they're floating around on the internet out there already so far, but let's get started. I already fast forwarded a bit when he was doing attendance and stuff, but and I watched the last ones. So there's like 2 or 3 hearings at the end that are quite quick, but I think that there's this one meaty one in the middle that we'll probably watch just now. So if you're just getting here, make sure you've clocked in for your shift by hitting the like button. So helpful for me. I appreciate it muchly. And yeah. Oh, love it. Love it when it freezes up. Oh, look at the green screen you can see when I move my hands. That was better yesterday. That was better yesterday. She said, with a bit of trepidation in her voice.
The temporary protection is in effect until the next scheduled court date in Superior Court. So, and Mr. Maxwell's reported to the court that he believes the order has been violated. And what I'll say to you, Mr. Maxwell and Ms. Maxwell, is if you believe the order has been violated, you have to contact law enforcement for enforcement of the order. That's the way this works. But I will sign a reissuance of the temporary order as well, which has language saying the temporary order is in existence until the next hearing in Superior Court. And that will go along with the order that Mr. Crow is going to provide the court for transferring this matter to Superior Court. All right. Thank you for coming in today.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Crow.
Do you need to wait for paperwork here or?
No, it's probably Mr. Crow's got to put it together, so you don't need to wait. We'll email it to you once it comes in. All right. Did you get all that? So there'll be 2 things. I'll have to redo the reissuance order, and then also the order transfer to Superior Court. So there'll be 2 things. So, and then we'll need to email those to both parties. Okay.
Yay! Couldn't hear me? I wasn't talking.
Marthew Miglietta. Mr. Miglietta, if you'd stand for me, please. And Ms. Sutliff, if you'd activate video, please.
Um,
Here you go. Okay, you're good.
Okay.
And Ms. Sutliff and Mr. Miglietta, both raise your right hands. Swear the testimony in the case to be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
yes.
You may sit. Thank you. And my general recollection of the petition in this matter is that Ms. Sutliff indicates she reported Mr. Miglietta for either drinking on the job or being intoxicated on the job. And Mr. Miglietta, in her belief, is upset with her for doing so and made an attempt to break into her vehicle while she was in it. And I believe, Ms. Sutliff, you indicated you called law enforcement. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Judge buffering. You're not really late, Cellulite Yoga Pants. We just sort of started and the judge is buffering. He's just like buffering in real life as usual, as why we call him Judge Buffering.
Like my statement when they arrived.
Did Lacey Police Department take a statement from you concerning your report that Mr. Miglietta attempted to break into your vehicle with you inside of it?
No, they just took like my statement when they arrived and let me know that there wasn't really anything that they could charge him with at that time. And they
Okay,
recommended that I file for a protection order.
Right. Okay. All right, and I see that I'm assuming well, the respondent has filed numerous pleadings sometime on Friday afternoon after I had previously reviewed the file, so I haven't seen these.
I apologize, Your Honor, for the late filing signatures and.
Yeah, no, I understand how this goes, but I'm just letting everybody know I haven't reviewed these. So Ms. Sutliff, have you had a chance to review the declarations that have been filed?
I have, Your Honor.
Okay, so I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to take a few minutes and review them and then
Thank you, Your Honor.
we'll proceed after that.
Well, lucky for us, with magic of fast forward, we will proceed sooner.
What I see particularly from Mr. Miglietta's declaration is his statement that he essentially admits the contact that is being referred to by Ms. Sutliff, but indicates that the context is different in that he was just attempting to talk with her because he was curious as to what had happened, and he was reaching out to her as he reached out to other people to try to find out. And he says that he was not on the property of the facility where he had been told he could not remain on the property. And so he tried to contact her, and he recognizes that the timing of it and the approach was probably inappropriate. Ms. Sutliff,
Yes.
that's the allegation of the attempt to, your view is his attempt to get into your car, was the basis for your petition, as best I could tell. Was there any other action that had occurred other than that?
I mean, for 3 days prior to that, I had been put in an uncomfortable position at work where I felt he was threatening me. And then in a residential neighborhood at 6 o'clock in the morning, he blocked my exit through the roadway, exited his vehicle in an attempt to enter mine.
Okay, so tell me about an attempt to enter yours. What does that mean?
He tried to pull my driver's side door open, but it was locked.
Okay, so he actually grabbed the handle of it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and so you made your report, according to your petition, on the 12th of November. And then the contact with Mr. Miglietta as you were leaving work or coming to work, I can't quite tell, was the next morning. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, you were leaving work, it says. All right, so what do you mean about, you said that he had been harassing you for 3 days prior. That I really don't see that in your petition.
So that was
What do you mean by that?
That was why I reported him to work, was that I had just started training with them. It was my first 3 days at this job. And he was showing me pictures of guns on his phone that he did not make clear to me he had already surrendered. And then the following conversation was how people who snitch, that's the lowest you can be. And I felt intimidated and threatened by him. Like, his statement, showing me the guns first and then making those statements, was a way to intimidate me not to tell on him when later in the night he was breaking multiple policies.
Right. And then in your mind, this culminated the next morning when he attempted to contact you while you were in your car. According to him, according to you, he attempted to open your car door while you were in the car.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Huxford, do you have questions for Ms. Sutliff?
I do. Ms. Sutliff, can you hear me?
Bitches that are snitches get stitches. Yeah, this is why it's so important to decide who trains new employees, really, right? Like, it's a big deal.
Okay, first and foremost.
Yeah.
Okay. So you began employment with Place One approximately in the beginning of November, correct?
Yes.
And you met Mr. Miglietta as the person who was training you for that employment. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you guys trained for a total of 3 days. Were those consecutive days?
Yes.
Okay. And the shift that you guys were working was a graveyard shift, correct?
Yes.
And this was at a single residence or multiple residences?
Single resident.
Okay, for a single client, correct?
Yes.
And approximately how long was the shift in question?
12 hours.
From what time to what time?
6 p.m. to 6 a.m.
Okay. And during those shifts, I mean, I'm assuming with graveyard, the front half is likely busy as you're taking care of the client, getting them to bed, et cetera. And then there's a lot of downtime in the evening. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And aside from your training itself, there's a lot of opportunity to talk to the person that you're training with, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You had an opportunity to review Mr. Miglietta's declaration. Do you agree that you talked about a lot of different things over the course of that 3 days?
Yes.
Okay. And he talked to you about his past relationships,
Yes.
and you talked to him about his past relationships, or about your past relationships, excuse me.
I talked to him about my marriage.
Okay. And at any
Ooh, humble brag. She's married. I'm sorry. This is weird. Training on an overnight shift, I guess that's the way it is. I don't know.
point did the topic of firearms and sport shooting and a collective interest in firearms come up during those conversations?
No, the conversation was him showing me the guns on his phone. It wasn't
so
in
you
the
denied.
context of sport shooting.
Okay, so you deny talking to him about the guns that your partner owns.
Yes.
Okay. What else did you talk about, Miss Sutliff?
I am sorry for being distracted. Hi, Courtney. Somebody just came to the door of my room and went, "Where's the food?" I don't know. You're gonna have to make that one yourself.
We talked about the job that I was supposed to be doing and how to get around basically every policy the company has.
So your testimony today is that Mr. Miglietta, in the course of training you, was advising you of his violations of the policies over a 3-day period and how to get around policies?
Yes.
Why would someone do that? That doesn't make any sense.
I can't tell you why he would do that. I can tell you what happened, and I can tell you that I have no reason to make it up. I'm on a 90-day probationary period. I had worked there 3 days.
So someone who has been with the company for a total of 3 to 4 years, during training, is just going to admit to you, without having ever known you, that they are consistently and willfully violating the company's policies as part of your training?
It is what he did.
Okay. Let's talk about the incident after you reported him to management. You said in your petition that he blocked your vehicle at the stop sign. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then he exited his vehicle, correct?
Yes.
And then he approached your vehicle. About how far away were your vehicles when he got out, allegedly?
I was directly on his bumper because I had assumed the car in front of me was going to pull through the stop sign.
How did you get away if he was directly in front of you?
I turned my wheels to the right-hand side and I drove through a construction site to get away from him.
But if he was directly in front of you, you wouldn't have been able to navigate or negotiate around. You just said that he was on, like, directly on your front bumper, correct?
Yes, I pulled up to him behind him at a stop sign, so within a couple of feet, and I was able to turn my tires all the way to the right side and drive through the construction site next to me.
But you didn't mention that in your petition.
I didn't realize I needed to mention that how I got away from him, just that I did get away from him. He admits in his declaration that I sped away from him.
I don't think that's a fact that we're disputing. Ultimately, I think that what I'm trying to figure out is if as you just testified to, if you were a couple feet away from his bumper, you would not have been able to just turn your wheel to the right and escape without backing up or reversing, or like that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't track.
Well, actually, it does. A couple feet from his bumper? Yeah, absolutely. You can turn. I used to work at a car dealership. Do you know how close we parked cars? Really, really close. Okay, so yeah, you absolutely can turn in on a short time. I'm not denying that Cellulite Yoga Pants. She is acting quite sus. Also, this is weird to me. Again, you've just started a new job, unless it was something so egregious. Again, I don't know why you would come to get a TPO on that instead of just going through the workplace, but yeah, excuse my eye rolling.
I I don't know what I'm supposed to say there other than that is what happened and what I did.
Okay, I don't have any further questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Sutliff, so
Yeah.
where is this sign in relation to the place where you were coming from, the home of the person you were caring for?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch the first part of that question.
Where is the stop sign in relation to where you had departed from?
It's approximately 5 houses down in a residential neighborhood.
Okay, so it's at 6 o'clock in the morning in a November morning.
In an unlit neighborhood.
Okay, and did you recognize Mr. Miglietta's car in front of you before Mr. Miglietta stepped out of the vehicle?
No, sir, he got into a red 4-door car, which is not the car he had driven to work the last 3 days.
Okay, so you and Mr. Miglietta left the home at the same time, is that?
He was not supposed to be there that night. He had been
Okay,
suspended and removed from working there.
Okay, was he there that night or not there that night?
He wasn't at work with me. He was waiting for me down the road when I got off of work.
Okay, so was his car parked at the stop sign as you pulled down the road towards it, or how did he come to be in front of you at the stop sign?
When I backed out of the driveway, I saw his headlights come on the right-hand side of the road, and I assumed it was a neighbor leaving for the day because they spun around to the stop sign, made a U-turn to the stop sign.
Okay.
I drove up behind the car, assuming that they were going to pull through the stop sign.
Mhm. And it turned out to be Mr. Miglietta in this car?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and did you have any knowledge as to whether there was anybody else in the vehicle that he was in?
I could not tell.
Okay. And did Mr. Miglietta say anything?
I couldn't tell, Your Honor.
And it's your testimony that in fact his hand went onto your door handle?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, may I ask one more clarifying question?
Yeah, let me just make sure I'm done before I go back to you. Okay, Mr. Oxer.
Ms. Sutliff, you said earlier that when you were answering the judge's questions that it was not made clear to you that he had surrendered those firearms. Is that correct?
Yes.
And in the conversations about his past relationship, he did acknowledge to you that there was a current restraining order against him because of his past relationship, correct?
No, he did not. He made it sound like he had a rough breakup and he still wanted to be with this person. He did not acknowledge at all that there was a restraining order against him. The police told me that the morning of the incident.
Okay, but in your petition, there's a section in here where you're talking about restraining orders, and it says the specific question is the restrained person already not allowed to have firearms? And you've checked that box, yes.
Because the police told me that morning that he had already been ordered to surrender his firearms if that made me feel safer. So yes, I knew at the point when I filed my petition, but I didn't know that the morning he was there.
No further questions.
All right, thank you. And I have read what has been filed. Does Mr. Miglietta have anything else he wants to say?
I mean, if the court doesn't feel it necessary to supplement the record with respect to credibility or to hear his side of things, then
File this declaration. So it's
Okay.
up to you.
Matt, I'm just going to ask a real open.
Hey, Collins viewers, welcome. Thank you for being here. Make sure that you clock in for your shift. Hit the like button. Donna, thank you so much. Gifting memberships. Look at you, Linny Lynn. You just got a membership. Make sure that you guys have your gifting turned on and that you're subscribed to the channel. That would be so helpful. So glad to see everybody here from Colin and new subscribers. Love it, love it, love it. I am doing pretty good tonight so far, you guys. What do you think so, Blue Steel? You think that there should be an an order of protection granted in this case? It's an interesting one. Colin, I think that you guys just did some of this hearing. I'm not sure, but we are going through parts of it as well. I hope that you are having a good night so far. If you're new here, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. Appreciate any subscribing and hitting of the like button. What other gifts do I give out? Lots of gifts. The gift of friendship and time. I love it. Seriously. I hope everybody is doing really well. Colin, thanks again for sending everybody over. Really appreciate that. Top numbers happening. If you're new here, tell me what you had for dinner. If you didn't like what you had for dinner, tell me what you wish you had for dinner. That's what we talk about around here, and that's okay. If you didn't like what you had for dinner or you live in a different time zone, tell us what you had for lunch. Philip in Australia had lasagna for lunch today, which was pretty good. I think there are pot stickers being made in my house. Yay! Thanks for subscribing. Let's see where Judge Buffering goes with this. I think it is an odd case because these are coworkers. So oftentimes things with coworkers get handled in the workplace via HR as opposed to, in a court of law. Welcome, Jack. Thanks for joining. That's awesome. Yeah, I've been around on the YouTubes for a little while, so you may have seen me before, but I do appreciate you tuning in. We're learning and growing together. I wish I had Chinese food for dinner too. That sounds good. Can of beans Phil Cordeaux had. Oh, Chris is gifting a membership. Make sure that you've turned memberships on, guys. We have great people here who gift memberships, and it is awesome. Thank you, Chris. Yay! Seriously, though, this is an interesting case. I call this judge Judge Buffering. If you have another name that you would suggest for him, let us know. Ooh, chicken quesadilla from Chipotle, legal fiction. Okay, we don't have Chipotle where I live in Canada. We do have like similar things, but we don't have Chipotle. But I have heard that it is very good. People do like it. I've heard that. Let's continue watching. We'll see where the judge turns with this one. Like I said, he really reads everything, focuses a lot, and I think he's very thorough. I'll say that about him. You had vajayjay for dinner. That sounds like a great dinner, Hannikin.
Question here. Do you have anything else to supplement your written statement that you feel like it's important to advise the court of to Ms. Sutliff's testimony? No? Okay. No.
All right. And Mr. Huxford, any argument?
Yes, Your Honor. So Ms. Sutliff has filed a anti-harassment protection order. I just want to note to the court that, ultimately, I think that this fails under the course of conduct provision. While I certainly understand the court is already aware that we've admitted to the conduct in question here, we're not talking about a repeated series of events. I understand that a course of conduct can be a single incidence of conduct, but there are disputing versions of what happened that morning. Mr. Miglietta had told the court that essentially he was indeed waiting, and then he got out of his car, put his hands up to try to make contact. Mr. Miglietta did not engage in a course of conduct over time if the court would at least give some credibility to his version of events. I find it incredibly hard to believe that someone training a new hire would admit to multiple violations of policy and then engage with them in passing.
Hold on. Even me in Canada, we did have the TV show Undercover Boss. And I think if that TV show taught us anything, it is that indeed employees will teach bad habits to new employees, even on camera when they're being videotaped. So why wouldn't it be possible if they were not even being watched necessarily? I'm being serious. Like if you've watched that show Undercover Boss where they go in and they an employee, they've got like two good employees and then one shit employee, and the shitty employee does something shitty and then the boss has to get all mad about it. Like, I think that's totally normal and totally plausible that if he's not a good employee to begin with, then it's totally feasible that was passing on bad information. This is why I said earlier, when you are an owner of a company or in charge of deciding who trains people, that is actually a very, very important job, because you need to make sure what information is being passed on and what manner that information is being passed on. The attitude that people get at that point is going to dictate pretty much their whole career with a company. So it's very important. I used to train my employees myself for the most part. I know they had terrible disguises, like the lawyer and his hair.
Aggressive, threatening behavior by showing them guns. We've submitted to the court that there are ultimately no guns in Mr. Miglietta's possession. I do think that he made this very clear to Miss Sutliff. I can't speak to her motivation for doing this, but the course of conduct definitional context is not met. There are no repeated attempts by him to contact her. He did not have her contact information. I agree with the court that this was an inappropriate time to try to reach out and make contact with Ms. Sutliff. There's been no indication that since the temporary order was issued that he has violated this temporary order or continued to make contact. Mr. Miglietta has been fired from his job at this point. There is no future opportunity for contact between these two parties. Mr. Miglietta's testimony also includes that he contacted multiple other coworkers to try to figure out what was going on, because Place One, when they suspended him, did not provide him the basis for the suspension, the reason for the suspension, the source of the suspension. So while certainly understand the headspace that Ms. Sutliff is in that morning, and this being an alarming contact with her, Mr. Miglietta did not know at that time, pursuant to his testimony, that she was even responsible for the alleged violations of policy.
Oh, Dee, thank you so much. My Ontario step friend. Thank you. Yay. Thank you again so much, Dee. Seriously, you guys, thank you. Everybody who donates, everybody who gifts memberships. We do members only every Sunday after our Sunday Court Watchers Anonymous meeting that we watch. But I do implore you to please hit the like button. It's a free way that you can help me out. And stick it to YouTube, Daddy. I don't know how else to put it. Seriously, if you don't like the video, you can hit the like button or the dislike button and then email me later about it and I will talk to you. Oh, seriously. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, this lawyer, this is such an interesting case. So Buddy doesn't have a job anymore, but he's still got a lawyer, which I find interesting. Um, I wonder if being fired from a job like that precludes you from getting hired again in a different type of like a different, I'm assuming it's home health care, these overnight shifts at somebody's home. Like, what else would you be doing? Unless they've sort of like really rallied the meth labs these days. Oh, Nancy, thank you so much. That super chat will show up shortly. Takes a long time for the super chats.
Or that this could be coming from her. So while he was advised to remain off the property of Place One, he was not advised to not contact his coworkers or try to figure out what was going on. And so, again, I certainly appreciate and understand the alarming nature of his conduct. However, I also don't think that Ms. Sutliff's version of events tracks when you are thinking about the logistical components of it as well. How was she able to flee the scene or get away from Mr. Miglietta if he indeed pulled in front of her car to prevent her from leaving? That doesn't make sense. She just testified that he was 2 feet from her bumper. She would not have been able to navigate that, as she said. It's not credible. I also just think the nature of her story makes sense. If we're really boiling this down to the course of the conduct consideration by the court and the anti or unlawful harassment component, there's also a substantial, or not, excuse me, substantial emotional distress, but rather a legitimate or lawful purpose. I think that an employee who's been suspended, who has rapport with his coworkers, albeit limited rapport with Ms. Sutliff, given that they had only known each other for 3 days, there's a legitimate purpose to reach out. Is the way that he did so reasonable? I think in hindsight, no, absolutely not. But is this the basis for an unlawful harassment protection order? I do not think that Ms. Sutliff has met her burden. There's no other additional witnesses to corroborate her version of events. And I do not think it makes much sense why my client would jeopardize his livelihood, jeopardize his job, and furthermore, jeopardize his other issues with the court in the Superior Court with respect to the DVPO when he's actively engaged in DVIT treatment and learning ways to not engage in this type of conduct. Mr. Miglietta immediately reported this to his DVIT counselor. He's done nothing but try to get ahead of this the entire time because he feels like he has been unreasonably suspended and then fired based on these allegations. I don't see how the court can find her version of events credible, that a senior employee would engage in multiple policy violations and then passively intimidate a new hire to not tell on him and then subsequently try to stop her in some way, shape, or form. And for these reasons, we're asking the court to dismiss this petition. Thank you.
All right.
Okay, well, I mean, I don't agree with his arguments, but I guess I understand what he's trying to get across. Mikey, welcome. Yeah, it's packed house tonight. Make room, please. Okay, so let's get a vote in the chat before we are going to hear the verdict here. What do you think? 1, if they're going to issue the TPO, and 2, if they're not going to issue the TPO. 1, if you think that yes, indeed, TPO should be issued, or 2, no TPO. This is crazy. No. Are they good, Mikey? I think Colin showed some of one earlier. I watched the ends of these, but I didn't watch this beginning part. So we're just going to flow through it and see how we do. But put in the chat if you think that this is going to be issued or not. 1 for issued, 2 for not. I'm seeing a lot of 2s. A lot of 2s, a lot of 2s. And do you think that that's because he brought a lawyer to advocate on his behalf as opposed to just coming here like a lot of people do pro se and not dealing with it. I think something else to be noted there is that he sort of glanced over that, but the gentleman is under a domestic violence protection order already. And he did say for this type of behavior. Well, that doesn't really bode well for him having that. I'm seeing ones, I'm seeing twos. Ah, two. Is he creepy? Yes, but not issue it, Sierra. Interesting. Okay. One, but you wish two cellulite yoga pants. Okay. 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 And Lisa, you know you're allowed to guess in here. You can make as many guesses as you want. And we always change our mind when we learn new info around here. He doesn't work with her anymore because he doesn't work anymore. But she does have those shifty eyes, cellulite yoga pants. I'll give you that. Um, yeah. Let's see. Hi, Crazy Cat. Yes, thank you for subscribing. If you're new here, welcome. It's good. It's a little crazy around here, but we have a lot of fun. Ask any questions that you might have in the chat. And yeah, enjoy yourself.
And I'm actually going to ask Mr. Miglietta a question. Mr. Miglietta, particularly on the night preceding the contact between you and Ms. Sutliff at the stop sign, how many, well, I guess you weren't there. So typically, how many people work the shift at
Only me.
At Mr. Morrow's home?
Only me.
Okay, so when Ms. Sutliff was there, it was you and Ms. Sutliff, just the two of you.
Yes, sir.
And so, Ms. Sutliff, I'll ask you a question. On the night that preceding this happened, how many people were working the shift besides you?
There was one other person.
All right. And who was that?
I apologize, Your Honor. I don't remember his name. I met him only that night for the one night.
Okay. And did he leave before you, after you?
After me.
Okay. Was he present when your contact with Mr. Miglietta occurred?
He was in the home, yes.
No, I mean, was he present at the stop sign when your contact with Mr. Miglietta occurred?
No, sir.
So his vehicle didn't approach behind yours?
No. He hadn't left the home yet. He was waiting for the day shift relief to come in.
Okay. And that had not occurred at the time you were having your contact with Mr. Miglietta at the stop sign?
No, sir, not yet.
Okay. And Ms. the evenings prior to your contact with Mr. Miglietta at the stop sign, how many people were in the home working?
Just myself and him.
Okay, so your training sessions for the 3 nights were you and Mr. Miglietta.
Yes.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And again, this is why I call him Judge Buffering, because he takes a long time to think about these things. But you know, he's working on it, I guess. Yes, and we are very silly. Thank you guys for all the new subscribers. It's so exciting for me to have new subscribers. I really appreciate it. We do a lot of fun things around here, a lot of crazy things too. But I stream pretty much every single day. So if you like to hang out, this is a good place to be.
And Ms. Sutliff, since this occurred, you've not had any contact from Mr. Miglietta?
No, sir.
Thank you.
I was also removed from the home where we were working and placed in a different location that same day.
All right, thank you.
We do a lot of participation around here, audience participation. And the beeping is when people subscribe or gift memberships or donate. That goes off like that. So it takes a little while. Oh, D has just said the funniest super chat, which should pop up shortly, but I can already see it. So in the coming new year, I am doing a series where I'm going to be working on my makeup skills. I'm going to learn some new makeup skills, following some makeup tutorials, but I'm not going to do it like all the other YouTubers do it. It's going to be live and uncut. So that is the plan. You see all my mistakes. And D is suggesting that Credence and Mikey follow along and show the results. How fun would that be? I 1000% am down for that. I bet one of them would do better than I would. I'll tell you that. There's a reason I need to do the tutorials and learn more. But Mikey has agreed to come on the show when I hit 1,000 subscribers. So each of you new subscribers is helping us get there. Soon, soon, soon we will be there. And I can't reveal yet what I have planned, but it will be very, very fun. Anyways, let's continue. Hi, Presto. Hope you're doing well. And thank you again, Dee. Appreciate you and your generosity. Um, let's make sure to pass that message on to Mikey. I don't know. He's always working. So even when he's here, sometimes he's working. He's not always listening, but I'll make sure to let him know that that was a request. Wait, Colin, you want to come on and do the makeup tutorial too, right? I'm not cheating on anybody. Y'all, thanks, Robert. You guys are hilarious. I love it.
I am going to enter the order sought by Ms. Sutliff in this case. And the basis for that is that the contact by Mr. Miglietta, which was acknowledged by him at 6 o'clock on a November morning in a neighborhood that Ms. Sutliff described as not well lit. And his attempt to speak with Ms. Sutliff that morning was a poor choice, as acknowledged by Mr. Miglietta through counsel. Under his version of events and under Ms. Sutliff's version of events, it's escalated from a poor choice to a significantly threatening contact when Ms. Sutliff says that, in fact, he approached her vehicle, ostensibly in the dark, and grabbed the door handle of her driver's side door, which was locked, and he wasn't able to get in, and Ms. Sutliff left, which was described by Mr. Miglietta. There is an argument, as Mr. Huxford pointed out, that the statute says one-time incidents are not to be the basis for the issuance of a protection order. However, they can be when seen as a continuation of an action. And in this case, I think Mr. Miglietta's poor choice in attempting to contact a former co-employee at 6 o'clock in the morning as she was leaving her work on a November morning, and doing so by being directly in front of her at a stop.
I mean, would July have made it better? August, March? Is he just implying that it's dark out in November on the West Coast? I know 6 a.m., that is very, very early for me. Everybody that lives on the East Coast thinks I'm a slacker because they're always like, oh my God, you get up so late. And it's like, no, it's not that late. It's really quite early. Also, yeah, Mikey, sending good vibes to your wife, hoping that she gets better soon. She's lucky though, you're a good nurse, I would imagine, so you're taking care of her. I think T-Rex is doing fine. He popped in recently. I'm surprised this order is being issued. I really am. I was actually a bit shocked there. This judge leans on the safe side. I'll say that. He leans on the safe side in certain scenarios. Other scenarios, I've seen him rule the other way, which I find a little unusual. But, judges are people. They make decisions based on their day and their week and how things impact them. As much as they don't want to do that, they obviously do. He is obviously sympathetic to her miserable face. She's done a very good job of having a face of misery. But yeah, I didn't like her eye rolling throughout it. I often get in trouble for the faces that I pull, or I say what a lot. I question people a lot, so I feel for people sometimes with involuntary reactions to things.
And not moving while she's behind waiting to depart. And then getting out of his car to approach her. And I don't find any basis for disbelieving Ms. Sutliff's version of events here. So I'm going to find that Mr. Miglietta's approach was more along the lines as described by Ms. Sutliff. Escalated that one event into something which could be the basis for the issuance of a protection order. I also note that Mr. Sutliff, Ms. Sutliff and Mr. Miglietta were the only two people working in that Mr. Morrow's home for the evenings that Ms. Sutliff was being trained. So I have a little hard time. It's not overly important to my determination here, but I'm having a little hard time buying Mr. Miglietta's statement that he didn't have any clue as to who might have turned him in, when the only person he'd been working with for the nights prior to being turned in was Ms. Sutliff. My guess is he had a pretty good idea in his head that it was Ms. Sutliff, and the contact was because he wanted to find out, why did she turn him in? I'm not making any determination as to whether Mr. Miglietta's actions as an employee were appropriate. I don't think that's not what I'm being asked to do, and there's not enough evidence for me to make a determination one way or the other. I do suspect that Mr. Miglietta suspected Ms. Sutliff was in fact the one who turned him in, and probably wasn't pleased about that. And his inappropriate choice in attempting to contact her was more than an inappropriate choice. It was threatening. And based on that, I will grant the request for protection order. Mr. Miglietta, this order is in effect for 1 year from today's date. You're to have absolutely no contact with Ms. Sutliff. You're not to go within 1,000 feet of her residence, her workplace, her vehicle, or her person. I've made no determination in here as to firearms. I'm satisfied based on what I've heard that Mr. Miglietta is compliant with his domestic violence order not to possess firearms, and apparently has either surrendered them or does not have possession of them. So I will not enter any firearm restriction as part of this order. Ms. Sutliff, if there's a basis for you wishing to extend the order, you'll have to come back to court and petition the court for that. This order is in effect for 1 year from today's date. We will provide Mr. Miglietta a hard copy of this order here in court, and Ms. Sutliff, if you wish a copy of the order, it's available in your district court electronic file.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you both, and Mr. Huxer will get a hard copy in just a moment.
Thank you.
Wow.
I did check with Esther. It sounds like the trial.
Okay. And did I give you, I think somewhere in my paperwork, I handed you the calendar that I had. If you'll find it, give it back to me. Probably look in the other. Thank you.
Oh my God, his hair is terrible. That lawyer's hair is terrible. My goodness. Okay, we're going to jump ahead to the next case here. And I don't know if Colin already covered this one or not. I haven't seen it yet, so we're going to watch it. But we'll see how we do. If you've already seen it. Pretend like you're a psychic.
Audio and video.
They're all present here with us, Your Honor.
Are those kids? Are any of those kids? Also, if any of you guys don't know yet, I don't really like showing kids in court. Don't really appreciate people bringing their kids into court. William, somebody asked me to be over this way more yesterday, so we'll see. Are those kids? Is that just a sickly looking adult? What do we think? Am I gonna have to cover it up? If I have to cover it up, I will, because that's what they do look a little bit like kids, but they look older. Oh, we're gonna have to figure it out. And then if it is kids, I'll cover them up because that's sort of my thing, the way that I roll, you know. But cool news is I can move myself all around now with my green screen. Also, somebody said earlier I look good in lime green. Does this look like lime green? There's one color I'm not allowed to wear anymore. It's green because I have a green screen behind me. So I legit cannot wear green. So this is yellow. Does it look green? It is 1000% yellow and wouldn't work if I had a green screen. Let's listen, see if they say they're kids. If they are, I guess I'll move my ass up there or put my pretty picture up there or something.
Okay. And I'm going to need all four of you and Mr. Butterfield, all of you raise your right hands, please. You swear that testimony in this case to be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, sir.
Yep. Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right. So, Mr. Butterfield, you're back in Middletown,
I am in
Connecticut?
Middletown, yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry, yes, I am.
All right. And the Hamlins are in Lacey, is that right? I'll need to get an answer that I can record. So I think that's correct.
That is correct, Your Honor.
Okay, there we go. Thank you. All right. So there's a lot of exhibits that have been filed by the Hamlins in this matter.
Is the youngest one 20 or is the youngest one 17? 17's pretty close. Am I sitting on their laps? No, I'm not. Um, I'll wait till I have confirmation and then I'll move myself out of here. I guess this looks green. I can assure you that it's not because like there's a green screen behind me. If I move really fast, you can see it. So this is yellow. I promise. It's also like a onesie. Okay, 17 I think is okay. So I think I'll move back over here. Hold on. Bow, 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 bow. And we'll go from there. Yeah. I don't know how to. Oh, sorry. I'm also a little bit sick. I apologize. It is definitely yellow, like a Handy P, because I'm literally like touching the green screen right now. And believe me, it's picking up the right green. There you go, William. Just like that.
And I reviewed those and I saw a number of videos and looks like text messages or screenshots. And I'm guessing that none of the Hamlins who appear here is the one that was in a relationship with Mr. Butterfield. Am I accurate in that?
Correct, Your Honor. Our oldest daughter has a protection order against him.
Okay.
Thank you, Tin Man, for your late fee. I very much appreciate that. I'm gonna change. God, it does look fucking green. I just got a picture of it on my phone. It does look green. It is not. Oh, I get too obsessed with changing. Oh well, hold on. Let's keep watching. Listen, let's hear what's going on here.
And that's Isabel, is that right?
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay. And that looks like that was just entered a week ago. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Butterfield, you were aware of that?
Of what exactly, Your Honor?
That Isabel has a felony protection order
A felony
regarding
protection
you.
order?
That there was, yes, family court entered a protection order for Isabel and you as a respondent. I don't know if you appeared in that hearing or not.
No, I did not appear in a hearing until today, Your Honor.
Okay, so I'm just making sure you're aware there is a separate that's not subject for this proceeding today, but in family court here in Thurston County, they issued a protection order for Isabel against you as a respondent, saying you may not have any contact with her at all. So I want to make sure you understand that.
Okay. Yep, I understand, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Yep.
So, yeah. So what I have here are requests from Isabel's sister, Isabel's brother, and Isabel's parents for similar protection order. And the basis of that seems to be a couple of, and I'm not sure whether they were posts or texts, I can't quite tell, from Mr. Butterfield, who seemed upset about, I'm assuming, the breakup of his relationship with Isabel. And
Hold on. Who the fuck is Isabel? Why is she dating somebody named Mr. Butterfield? He looks older than her dad. Am I confused? Is this a Creed and Emily situation? I'm perplexed. Also, you guys are so cute and sweet, telling me that I look nice. I get very distracted. There's clothes all over this room. I was like thinking of about 42 different outfits that I could put on, but I will not. Are these hill people? Well, this is from Thurston County in Washington, which is just south of me. So I think they're West Coast chill. I would call them West Coast chill, not Appalachian at all. No. West Coast chill. Yeah, is that Isabel back there with the what y'all would call a beanie or a toboggan? Can you tell me in the chat if you've ever called a hat like that a toboggan, please? Because I have never heard of that before. In my world, a toboggan is like a sled or a thing that you slide down a hill on. But I recently found out that some people call those hats toboggans. I had one here, like just recently, and I don't know where it is. Yeah, see, nobody calls it that. So Isabel is the older sister in the Hamlin family. She broke up with Butterfield, and he is upset. I'm already intrigued to hear all about this. Is it? Oh, Chris, thank you so much. Also, is it because she didn't want to be Isabel Butterfield? Do you know what I mean? Toboggans, wow. Some of y'all do. I guess that's a Southern thing. Oh, I love learning about America. You guys have such amazing little pockets of culture.
made some fairly direct threats towards the Hamlins, who he was conversing with, and I know specifically saying that he was going to kneecap Isabel's father. So
He
those
also
seem
made
to
a
be the
couple death
statements.
threats too, Your Honor.
Hold on. Butterfield is gonna kneecap somebody? That's sort of funny. Fucking try it, Butterfield. I would just look. I'm sorry. Like, maybe this is just how I think of my dad, but I swear to God, if one of my ex-boyfriends who I broke up with came and told my dad he was gonna kneecap him, I'm fairly positive my dad would both laugh at him and then beat the shit out of him. I'm not sure in which order. But I mean, seriously. And it's their echo. I know. My audio is actually on point tonight. It's their problem now.
I'm sorry?
In one of the most recent ones, because he's still contacting Madison, he did actually make a death threat.
That's a lie. That's not Madison's phone number, bro.
Mr. Butterfield, hold on. Okay.
Okay, bro, you already just lost points because you said bro and you interrupted like that. And so does that mean that you did indeed send a death threat to that phone number thinking it wasn't Madison's? Creepy, dude. Move on. She don't want you. Nobody in the family wants you. You're not wanted. You're not wanted.
So part of the concern we have is he's continuously been violating Isabel's protection order, writing to Madison's phone, giving actual threats of breaking my kneecaps or killing us. And there was a text chain with a bunch of vulgar, racist remarks and etc. The young man just doesn't get it that we don't want anything to do with him. He just needs to leave the family alone.
Yep. All right. Thank you. So, Mr. Butterfield.
Yes,
What
sir.
do you want to tell me? I've watched the videos. You seem like an angry young man in the videos.
All right, good.
Oh, you did not even listen to what he just said, Mr. Butterfield. This guy's scary, dangerous. Actually, you do have to be careful. Probably have to beat him pretty hard to make sure he didn't come back, because he seems like that kind of slimy, gross kind of guy that will come back, you know? Allegedly, in my opinion, for legal reasons.
Good as in I'm glad you watched them.
You're muted.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I was pretty upset, you know. I bought Isabel a phone and an Apple Watch. That way, if the relationship continued, Isabel could do the same thing that I do for my family, which is allow my family to track them. The phone number that I had is not Madison's. It's Abby's, who is an adult. As far as the protective order against the children, I had really no contact via any cellular or internet network, period, between the children. And I was pretty upset because when I bought this cell phone and this watch for Isabel, it was $1,500 altogether, and I was paying for the monthly plan on it as well, straight out of my own pocket. And when the relationship was broken up, and I was basically told that I would never see Isabel again, I said, okay. They wanted to keep the phone and the watch despite it not being in her name. And when they returned it, they failed to civilly give me the phone back or hand it over to the police.
Okay, that's a contradictory sentence because he said when they gave it back, they failed to give it back? Say what? Also, William, I have lighting. I turned it down on something. I'm going to try something different. It's going to change the brightness. Because I actually have multiple lights in here that are actually proper. Okay, let's keep watching. Also, for the record, this guy's a fucking creep, allegedly, in my opinion.
Which was highly upsetting. $1,500 is a very, very large sum of money for me. I'm an entry-level IT contractor. I don't start work again until January. So this $1,500 really bites me where the sun doesn't shine. Not only did they not give me the phone or the watch back, but also when they did return it to the UPS drop-off location, to the UPS facility, they failed to properly print the hazardous material label that was accompanying the return shipping label for the iPhone and the watch. Thus, the phone and the watch is still at that facility, and Verizon only gives me 30 days to get it back. So I contacted somebody from a program that I'm in, who was sponsoring me, and I had him go down last week, 15 days after the package was dropped off there. When he went there, the package was nowhere to be found. However, in my UPS app, it says that it is there. And I got a bill from Verizon saying that $1,500, if I don't pay it immediately, which was last Wednesday, mind you, that if I don't pay it immediately, that it's going to go into collections and it's going to kill my credit. So yeah, I was highly frustrated. I can get up here and show my face, whether we're live streaming to the public or not. Whether I would.
Are you talking to me, sir? Are you talking to me? The YouTube community watching you make a fool of yourself? Yeah. Yeah. You're weird. Also, don't buy gifts for people that you can't afford to give them and then ask for it back. That's not the spirit of gifting. And I'm not saying like that give gifts like you should give gifts necessarily. Like it just doesn't make any sense. Like you don't, especially to a young child or a young person who's needs their parents' intervention in these situations. Like this is creepy AF, absolutely. Again, I'm just imagining what my dad would do in this situation. Or there's few men in my life. I know there's a few men in my life that would be literally not down with that. Also, if you're wondering in the chat, I think !games, something else will explain it. It's all free. We just have fun playing in the chat. It's the points you get for watching the show, but you can also gamble them. You can gift points as well to other people. Don't forget that. And yeah, he wanted that gift to track her, which is fucking creepy, right? That reminds me of the guy I don't know if you guys remember this, but he put a tracker in the diaper bag into the wipes. Not like at the inside the bag normal, but like inside, like red flag.
Get on Fox News and stand exactly by what I said, because that's not how you act. That's not how you do things. That's not how you treat somebody. My mama didn't raise no snitch. So I'm not going to come up here and talk about a bunch of stuff about somebody else. All I'm going to tell you is that the way that I was treated was total baloney. And
Snitches get baloney. Okay, we got to go back here. What in the heck is this little rant that he is on?
That if I don't pay it immediately, that it's going to go into collections and it's going to kill my credit. So yeah, I was highly frustrated. I can get up here and show my face, whether we're live streaming to the public or not. Whether I would get on Fox News and stand exactly by what I said, because that's not how you act. That's not how you do things. That's not how you treat somebody. My mama didn't raise no snitch. So I'm not going to come up here and talk about a bunch of stuff about somebody else. All I'm going to tell you is that the way that I was treated was total baloney. And the reaction that they received from me should definitely be an expected reaction for it. And I'd like to apologize to the children. In no way, shape, or form was anything that I said directed towards them. I love those children. I think they're great, amazing people, and they have a beautiful future ahead of them. And
Creepy? That's a super creepy way of saying that. Wow. I don't know how proud your mama would be, Mr. Butterfield. I'll tell you right now, if my child was acting like you and invoking my name in how I raised her, I would not be happy about it. I'll tell you that much right now. Um, I don't think you should have used this opportunity for allocution, but you are. You're digging yourself a hole.
Sorry. I definitely said some things that I shouldn't have said. I didn't mean what I said. You know, if by golly OG, you know, somehow I saw them again, I wouldn't actually kill them. Who does that, you know? I would walk right by them. I wouldn't even think about it. I probably wouldn't even recognize them. I probably wouldn't. Inside of those documents, it says that they want to label me as a sex offender and all this and that. Well, guess what? I got news for you, cowboy. I deleted all the pictures and chat logs and everything I had of Isabel.
Oh, but you just admitted to having them, you douche. Oh, 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 this has to be issued. If he issued the order in the last case, that I mean, there's no question. This has to be issued, right? This is this is actually very disturbing. This is very disturbing. I'm not sure that, yeah. And see, again, this is when you need a daddy who comes in and who takes care of these things. Kneecaps or whatever, I don't know. Allegedly, in my opinion.
Before I even left Washington. Thank you very much. Because that's the kind of person, that's the kind of man my mom raised. He's a real man who really owns up to what he does, doesn't try to hide, and doesn't let anybody push him around. So if you want to sit here and push me around and try and destroy my life by calling me a sex offender, good luck, buddy. Good luck. Jesus loves me just as much as Jesus loves you and loves all of us.
And Mr.
And
Hey,
that's
Mr.
all I have to
Butterfield.
say.
Mr. Butterfield.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. I'm done.
Okay.
Thank you,
All
Judge.
right. I'll pretend you were talking to me and not to them because you're not supposed to talk to them.
I'm sorry about that.
All right. And Mr. Crabtree, would you please mute your microphone? You're causing us to get some reverb here. All right. And if I'm not mistaken, Madison, are you Abby as well? Is Abby your middle name?
Madison is my legal name, and that's what I put as our court protection order, but I go by Abby as a nickname, so it is my number that he's been contacting. Maybe that was the confusion.
Okay, all right.
Doesn't that strike anybody as super fucking creepy and that they probably should check those chat logs now? Oh. Oh, I don't like this. I do not like this.
And let me just clarify, Abby, I'll ask you, you're how old?
I'm 20.
Okay, thank you. And Philip, you're how old?
I'm 18, sir.
Okay. And then Russell and Julie are the parents?
Correct, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, like this has to be a one. This has to be issued. Get your votes in the chat right now. Do you think that this is one going to be issued or two denied? Um, Based on his excitement level when he was talking, immediate one, immediate issue, right? Also, this girl needs to get some, just like my dad gave me when I had a stalker when I was 18 years old. I don't know if that's legal. Well, whatever I had was legal, and it was like a baton and bear spray, and the baton was like one of those like slide out ones. Yeah. Anyways, she needs those. She should probably take those, put it on her keychain, use them. I mean, you can get one that's a flashlight too, but you sort of want something that you can break the sternum with when somebody comes at you. You just really like hit them.
You don't have to do it now. Whatever. You don't have to do it now because they're all involved. Okay, yeah.
Judgy McJudger said, hurry up.
Actually, I'll move that one back for a moment.
I think it's safe to say he's a little bit psycho, Michelle. Um, yeah, he's the date you'd never want your daughter to go on, right? Like, oh, this isn't like just somebody that is a little weird. Like, this is fucked up level 10. We're at level 10 here.
I also need it back again. Justin, sorry. Need it back again.
I really hope he's filling out all this paperwork. But he is holding us in suspense. Judge, come on. Tell us. Issued or not. Oh yeah, he has copies of the chat logs. Like just the way he categorized them, not good. Not good. Bye, Philip. We'll see you soon. Thanks for being here. Um, oh, thanks, Dee. You're so great. He doesn't have to have separate PPOs for the whole family. Generally, they will issue one for everybody in the family if it's issued against one person because the standard is that you stay away from their home, their workplace, their family. Now, it may be different because they are young adults. Also, Dee, thank you so much for your super chat. I like all kinds of music. In fact, on New Year's, we're going to be doing a lip syncing contest, not a contest, a game where I am pre-recording me lip syncing songs, and then you guys are going to try and guess them. And then, I mean, worst case, we can listen to the lyrics and try and pick the songs. But that's one of the fun games that we're going to be playing on New Year's this year at our 2023 New Year's celebration. And I just keep singing that song. Oh, she's sweet but a psycho, a little bit psycho. Mr. Butterfield is. Thanks again, D.
All right. There's a lot of paperwork obviously associated here, and I've finished it. I am going to enter the protection orders on behalf of all of the Hamlin family members who have sought it. Mr. Butterfield, as I pointed out, the video shows an angry person. You manifested that today as well. But you're not in trouble because you're angry. You know, it's an emotion. It's the statements you made. It's not enough to say, you know, nobody follows through on a threat to kill. Nobody follows through on a threat to harm somebody. So they shouldn't have believed it in the first place. Frankly, that's nonsense. People should be concerned when they hear that. That language is totally inappropriate in any way. And no matter what you think harm has been done to you concerning your watch and phone, the response that I saw was totally inappropriate, and it's the response that I am responding to. You do not have the right to threaten to kill people. You don't have the right to threaten to hurt them. So I have entered this order. So for the next year, there is to be absolutely no contact with any member of the Hamlin family that has filed a petition today, which includes Abby as Madison. And you're not to go within 1,000 feet of your residence. Hopefully that's easy since you're back in Connecticut.
My residence?
No, within their residence.
Okay. It sounded like you said your residence.
Within their residence.
Okay.
And for the Hamlin family members, if you wish the order to be extended beyond a year, you'll have to petition the court separately for that toward the end of that time period. But for now, this order is in effect for the next year on each of these three matters. And copies will be available in the district court file for each of you to get copies of. All right.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
When an employer does a background check on you, does that come up?
Hey, it's a court record.
Okay, sounds good.
Yep. All right. But Mr. Butterfield, I'll point out the employer will also see the no contact order you have with Isabel. So you already have a no contact order. That's the fact that there's another one. You know, we'll see what any employer, what the reaction will be. I don't know, but there already is something on your record that they will see.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good.
All right. Thank you, folks.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Does it? Does it really sound good? Are you sure? I don't think it does. I actually think it sounds shitty. Let's be realistic. He didn't have security clearance to begin with. If he did, he shouldn't have. His temperament is not suited towards dealing with sensitive things, quite obviously, allegedly, in my opinion. MB, thank you so much. Saw that email late last night. I so appreciate you. Merry Christmas and thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for being here. Make sure you've clocked in. We're having a busy night tonight. Good group of people here. We're going to move on to the next hearings. I'm going to jump ahead because the judge buffers for so fucking long, but we'll get there. This one was a creepo, dude. Worth a rewatch if you want to rewind later and go back because this guy was creepy.
Okay, and Ms. Stiles, Mr. Crabtree, is there video capability with Ms. Stiles' phone?
Okay, and we also have a bow tie wearing to court here. This is an interesting look. You know, it's better than a hat and a fucking wife beater. I'll say that. You know, we've seen that. So I'm not going to ride him too much yet. We'll see what happens. Huh?
Ms. Stiles or Mr. Crabtree, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Okay, so do you have video capability on the phone?
Yes, we do. I'm kind of having a problem with it right here. I'm trying to.
And zoom fail on your
Can you
bingo
see us
card.
now?
I cannot.
Yeah, for some reason our video is not working.
I call him Judge Buffering so far, MB, but I'm open. I think somebody else called him Judge Silver Fox, perhaps. But I call him Judge Buffering because he takes so long.
Okay, all right. So I'm going to have all three of you raise your right hands for me, please. Do you swear that testimony in this case to be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Mr. Hill?
I do.
Thank you. And Mr. Crabtree?
I do, sir.
Ms. Stiles?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. And Mr. Hill, am I correct that it sounds like you, Ms. Stiles' daughter is your fiance, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, and Ms. Stiles and Mr. Crabtree used to live with the two of you, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, and in spite of that, you indicate in your petition that Ms. Stiles constantly yells at you and refers to you by the N-word.
Constantly.
And you've asked her to stop and she hasn't.
It's been going on for 8 years.
Okay. And just tell me, why are you filing now if it's been happening that long?
Because I constantly get apologies from her and I forgive her for it. But it just happens it just keeps happening. I can't deal with it anymore.
All right. And then as far as Mr. Crabtree, you say he doesn't use the abusive language, but he backs up who you say is his girlfriend, Ms. Stiles, and then threatens physical harm to you. Is that accurate?
Well, no, he doesn't threaten really necessarily any physical harm, but he takes up a posture on her behalf and like that I feel threatened.
Okay, so that doesn't mean it happens remotely. It means when you're in physical proximity to each other and this is going on at that point, he might clench his fists or square his shoulders or whatever, and you feel like he's going to be defensive for Ms. Stiles.
Yeah, and he enables her by buying her alcohol and stuff like that.
Okay. All right. Ms. Stiles, your thoughts on what Mr. Hill has reported?
It's not true. I already have, there's already a, see, that was my place of employment is at that residence, which is my daughter's residence. And so, and it's not true that I go over there and call him the N word and always argue, and that's not true.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Also, what is behind him that says big? When I play again, look behind bow tie Jim. There's something on the floor that has the word big on it. I know. I constantly question why people zoom into court from the places they do, but they do. And yeah, what she works at her daughter's house. Again, is this a home healthcare situation? What is going on here?
Do you ever call him the N word?
I have.
And why would you do something like that?
Just mad.
Oh, that's despicable. I feel so bad for him. Look at him. He looks so sad. That's not cool, lady. I don't know why she giggled there about that. I don't like it. Yeah. You're a grown woman. You need to be better than that. That's just not okay.
Mad at him. He's called me the C word. So it's just kind of a response back.
Mm-hmm. Is there ever any time appropriate to say that word?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Yeah, I would agree with you. That's never appropriate. And I'm assuming I can't see you, so I'm assuming you're white. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Oh, wow. He just asked. Oh my goodness. Ooh. Judge ain't buffering right now. No, he is not. He is on fire at the moment, and he is fired up. Wow. Wow. Also, by C word, does she mean a four-letter C word or a longer C word? I wonder. Wow. I want to see the judge again as he asks this.
Time appropriate to say that word?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Yeah, I would agree with you. That's never appropriate. And I'm assuming I can't see you, so I'm assuming you're white. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Listen, I think it does make a difference, and I don't think that he is out of line for asking. I just still think it's something we don't often see in court. We don't. And I guess that's why we would like people on Zoom to be visible, but colors can be misconstrued. That's a whole different thing. Let's continue. Let's see where this goes.
And Mr. Hill, Ms. Stiles tells me she works at the home that you live in. Is that Tell me about that.
Well, her grandmother stays here, lives here, and she was her caretaker for a little while, and so is her daughter.
Okay, but is that still the current situation?
Her daughter is still caretaking for her.
Okay, but I'm assuming Ms. Stiles can't be there because there's a Superior Court order telling her not to have contact with her daughter, which I assume prevents her from coming to the house anyway. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay,
We've been dealing with this, her racial and bigotry comments for years now, and we couldn't put up with it anymore, even if she was working here. And she was only using her working here now, or now that she thinks that she works here, that she has a right to come in our house and start arguments, and her racial comments now can still take place because she works here now. And that she thinks that she tries to make comments like, oh, if we don't come to the door or something, she thinks that there's something wrong with grandma and she can kick the door in now. Stuff like that. It's just getting too much.
All right. So it looks like Superior Court entered the protection order for Kendra back on the 16th of November. So I'm assuming since the 16th of November that Ms. Stiles has not come to the home. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
This was the last resort, Your Honor. Like we
did not want. All right, Ms. Stiles, anything else you'd like to say?
Yes, no, the last day of employment was, I believe he put in his statement that it was the 25th, 26th that I came over there and did that. That's not the issue. Marcus Hill is not even on the rental agreement at this place. I've been taking care of my mom since the end of 2020, and a brother and my sister were going to put her in a nursing home. So I took the classes, and Kendra took the classes as well to be an IP, to keep mom in her home. She just recently moved out of her home the end of February into Kendra's. I've been taking care of mom at her place in Tumwater since 2021 is when I was certified to be an IP for mother. And so after I could not get any response from Kendra to find out how my mom was doing, I did call the Lacey Police Department to do a welfare check on my mother. And so no response. My older daughter was also trying to get a response to see how my mom was doing. She's 84 years old. So the last day I was there was the 26th of October. And so I had not been around. And then I got served by county of a protection order from Kendra. And then a month later, I get one from Marcus Hill. The reason why this order came up is because I found out he had a warrant for his arrest. And so I thought he had taken care of that, and he didn't. He has an active warrant out of this county, out of Mason County, of assaulting Martin Crabtree, and he'll explain that too. So he was just picked up, I believe, on November 14th by the U.S. Marshals, came there and took him to Nisqually Jail because of his DOC warrant of not doing what they were saying. So, yeah, I've like I said, I apologize for saying the N word and that, but I have been putting up with, Marcus and that, and I don't really care about seeing him, or, you can have this harassment order, out there. It's just my mother I'm concerned about now. And so that's like I said, they completely stopped all communication with me from my mom since the 26th of October.
All right, thank you.
Your Honor, may I?
Yeah, you don't need to.
So just as a tip, if you're ever in court with a judge like that, listen to them. He's doing the right thing here. Judge was not happy about her behavior to begin with. So, but he don't need to say much more on this one, I don't think. Let's keep going. What do you think? Remember, he's trying to get 2 TPOs here, one against her, one against her husband. We haven't heard much about the husband, so what do you think? Will it be issued or will it not be issued? 1 in the chat if you think it's going to be issued, 2 in the chat if you don't. Come now and put your guesses in. You can change your mind, obviously, as we learn more. But also, if you've had dinner since you've been here or you've just got here, tell us what you had for dinner. If you didn't like what you had for dinner, tell us what you wish you had for dinner. I love hearing about people's dinners. This, I mean, what a crazy day for this judge dealing with the previous Mr. Butterbeer or whatever his name is. The other dude, it's just so much going on here. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of 1s in the chat for getting issues. Issued. I have to agree. It does sound like a pattern of harassment. The petitioner in his bow tie seems very believable. Hot dogs, Nancy. You know, I don't eat hot dogs very often. Maybe I would say once every 18 months I eat a hot dog. It's literally that spaced out. Ooh, cheese enchiladas with sauce, refried beans and Mexican rice. Kelly, I love that. Sounds delicious. Miss Carrie, you had Knox on a platter. I think he wants a picture from you. A few pretzels Boo had. You had Papa John's pizza, D. We have Papa John's here now. I'm trying not to get pizza because I'll eat a whole pizza. Um, you had an apple fritter, Lisa. That sounds pretty good. Uh, I'm gonna say right now though, like what was her ranting and raving about? I don't know. She's just fucking going on. You know, there's a bit of a common denominator when we deal with people that are getting TPOs put against them. They've just got that wee bit of crazy in them, allegedly, in my opinion, that really gives them that joie de vivre ability to really fuck somebody's life up, you know? Homemade egg McMuffins. I like that, Amanda. What was on the egg McMuffins is my question. Are you a ham girly? Are you a bacon girly? Are you just a cheese girly? Tell me. Um, Tater tots and pizza rolls for Christy. I liked it. Michelle just picked potatoes out of the garden, so you're making hot chips and burgers. Michelle, I make a really good, I call those potato wedges, and they are one of my specialties. And the dipping sauce that I make with it, mayonnaise, paprika, and garlic salt. Stir that up. There you go. It's gonna be delicious. And then somebody told me, was it Mayor that told me if I just add a little bit of ketchup to that, it becomes like a burger sauce or something like that? I don't know. Ooh, wait, hold on. Eggnog pie. That sounds delicious. And key lime pie for dessert. Oh, I love dessert. I do love dessert. Uh, I'm gonna tell you the truth. I have never really drank eggnog in my life. Where's Loud Elvis? Loud's right here to do a humble brag about eating pistachios. He eats pistachios every night. Um, pasta and marinara, I'm thinking, not marina, Sierra, with salad. That sounds pretty good. Um, they only had cheese and ketchup. No, 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 no. Don't be unfortunate about that. There's nothing unfortunate. What I would add, Amanda, to a plain egg McMuffin, this is my hack for you. Hash brown patties. Okay? I keep hash brown patties in the freezer. They cook up in like what, 12 minutes. And if you put a hash brown patty on top of an egg McMuffin, oh, that's a win. I also put them in breakfast burritos. That's like a standard part of my breakfast burrito. You got a hash brown in there, you got some sauce, cheese, eggs, all the good stuff. But, potatoes are a great cheap way to bulk up your food. That's just the truth.
All right. As I've pointed out, there is a family court protection order. Ms. Stiles telling you may not have contact with your daughter, Kendra, and you have to totally comply with the terms of that order. I am going to grant Mr. Hill's request for a protection order for him from you, since he's not covered by your daughter's order. I think the behavior he discusses relative to you is totally inappropriate, and I can't think of any other reason that you would engage in the language you've admitted to using other than being harassing and threatening. So I will grant the request for the order. I am not going to grant a order as to Mr. Crabtree. The basis, I don't find there's a sufficient factual basis for me to do so. But Mr. Crabtree, understand that Mr. Hill does not want any contact from you. I'm not going to enter an order as related to you today, but if there is contact in the future, Mr. Crabtree is certainly going to, or Mr. Hill is certainly going to be able to argue to the court that the judge made it very clear that he doesn't want contact from you, and if you have contact in the future, that would be intended to be harassing. So I strongly suggest you not have any contact with Mr. Hill going forward. Mr. Hill, the order will be in effect for 1 year from today's date. If you want it renewed, you'll have to come to court and ask for it to be renewed. And Ms. Stiles, you're not to go within 1,000 feet of Mr. Hill's residence or his person, and have no contact at all with him. All right.
Yes, Your Honor.
Will be available to the two of you, Mr. Hill and Ms. Stiles, in your file at district court, and you can access it there. Thank you.
Your Honor.
Is it
okay if Martin has something to say, since his name was on this harassment order?
Well, yeah, as I've said, I've not entered any order as to Mr. Crabtree, but Mr. Crabtree, go ahead.
I just want to say, Your Honor, on in regards to my threatening postures, when they both lived with us here in Shelton, where we live, at my place, and that is the time that they both assaulted me. And like Pam said, that there is an active warrant out for Marcus Hill here in Mason County for the assault on me. And the only reason I do my defensive stance is because when we lived with them, he kept approaching in our room and coming in a threatening manner. And I just wanted to protect myself and Pam, because they have a habit of tag teaming, if you understand what I'm saying, Your Honor.
I do.
Oh, my brain is so inappropriate. And it is thinking of a different kind of tag teaming that we see on a different website late at night, all alone. Sean with our phone lights.
I just don't want, I don't want any contact with him either, Your Honor. So it's fine with me. I mean, I don't
He
need
hears
to
you.
have any communication with them at all.
All right.
May I
Thank you
respond
very
to that,
much.
Your Honor?
Nope, we don't need to go back and forth on that. I've
Okay,
made my
thank you.
ruling. All righty.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
All righty. Bye-bye. So we don't email them copies of the orders. They have to access this at the file.
Your Honor, one question about my
Yes.
paperwork.
Yep.
Can I come there and pick it up? Is there any paperwork?
You
that I can
absolutely.
do?
Yep. Yeah, of course.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Annette Suraskan and Elliot Marthew.
Hi.
Mr. Marthew, deal. There we go. Thank you. And remind me how you pronounce your last name.
Season one, like the Four Seasons and the San Juans. Season one.
That's right. You told me that before.
Yeah, I've heard that before. This must have been past another day because I've definitely heard her say that before. Season one. Season one. I think this will be the last case that we listen to for today. We will see what happens with the season one, Mr. Season or Mrs. Season one here. Been having such a great evening with you all. Please make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. It's so simple, free even, and also like the video. So helpful. I love it.
I forgot. Sorry.
That's okay. It's okay.
All right. So, Ms. Season one, you and Mr. Marthew reside in the same location. Is that right?
Correct. He's here part-time. Yes.
Okay, but he's a tenant in, is it a home or?
Yes, it's a house that's split up into 3 different units. He lives downstairs and I live upstairs.
Right. And your request is to have me direct that Mr. Marthew can't reside at that location. Is that correct?
Just that he can't come to my door or come near me. I can't.
Okay.
You know, I've known him. I've lived here for over 8 years. They've lived here longer. I've never had a problem with him until this last year I think it started in July, the screaming and yelling downstairs. I ignored it. But then in August, he started like trying to kick the door down and just absolute rage. I asked him to stop and he just starts swearing at me. I have spoken to the lady that lives down there with him on several occasions. In fact, I had her upstairs and we had a long conversation. She said he was getting help. So, you know, I let it go. I did call the police on that occasion. A couple months later, the same thing happened again. And it got to the point where he did come to my door and, you know, open the door. I know you called the police. I know you want them to shoot me. And so at that point, I decided, you know, I don't think he realizes how scary this is. And, you know, he can't do that. He can't come to my house. He can't come to my door and threaten me. And so what I'm asking the court is, you know, a little protection here would be great.
Okay, but the reason I ask is if what you're asking me is to tell Mr. Marthew that he can't come within certain foot limitation of your residence, he's a co-resident in the same building, so that becomes problematic. I would have to refer this case to Superior Court, who has the authority to order an eviction from the property so that he can't come to the property. I don't have that authority pursuant to this statute in this type of hearing. So all I can do, if we were to proceed here, is if I am satisfied that it warrants, I could direct Mr. Marthew to have no contact with you and not to come to your door, but I can't direct that he depart from the building. So you understand that difference?
I do.
And is it the latter, just telling him to have no contact with you and not come to your door, that you're seeking, or are you actually
at this point
is not to have him in the building?
Well, I'd like not to have him in the building, but I'm not asking for that. I'm just asking that a protection order to keep him away from me. That's all I'm asking for at this point.
Okay, so you understand, if you're seeking to have Mr. Marthew not reside there, that has to go through Superior Court.
I understand.
Okay, Mr. Marthew, anything you want to say as far as the request, just to tell you not to have contact with Ms. Juan or go to her door?
I would just like to add that I have not been residing at the apartment since the incident. And on the occasions Annette described in her reports, I want to acknowledge that I was experiencing emotional distress for personal matters that did not involve Annette at all. And I want to be clear that I did not seek to initiate contact or engage with Annette during these incidents. My interactions were with her was limited to responding to actions she took or contact she initiated with me and my family. I recognize that my response were influenced by the distress I was under, and I want to stress that they were in no way indicative of any negative intentions towards her. That means that I didn't try kicking down her door. All I said was that that she could call the police, because I know that she's kind of, she likes to put her nose in there and, do all that kind of stuff. So I knew and I recognized that that was not the best idea. But I was under a lot of stress, and there's my cat. And in all honesty, Annette has
talk to me. Just talk to me.
Yeah. She has not been on my mind ever, and I could really care less about, what she's doing, or, and I don't like, I think I respectfully believe that the protection order is unnecessary, because I don't seeking to harass or hurt her is like a waste of time, I believe, and a waste of energy. And I don't really seek to, do that. And I'm already not living at that house anymore. I don't want to live there. I don't think we need to, involve the courts further.
Okay, so from what you're saying, you have no intention of residing there again?
No, I don't really care to. If she doesn't want me there, I don't want to be there.
All right. Are you a tenant? Have you signed on as a tenant for the room in the house?
Well, I live there with my parents, so I guess, well, I lived there. I don't know why she mentioned that I still live there. I don't, but I've been living with my mom. So.
Right. Do you have a family member that still lives there?
Yes. My father and my stepmom.
Okay. And you go see them upon occasion?
Well, I would, but can't be at the house. or that's what they said. So I didn't know that it wasn't official. So
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was probably part of the protection order. I didn't issue that. But as I pointed out, I think that's inappropriate. There's no ability pursuant to this statute for us to direct you not to go to the house. So I'll be clear about that. But the concern is the one raised by Ms. Season One about the nature of the contact, particularly when you're struggling. So are you treating? Do you see somebody?
yes, I um yeah, I'm not in that apartment building anymore. I have group therapy and personal counselor. So I'm going to 2 sessions, and
I consider this group therapy that we're all in right now. And I go to 5 to 7 sessions a week. Actually, 8 if you count members only. What do we think? Do we think this is going to be issued or not? As a reminder, this is the last case we're going to watch tonight. Um, I he's not giving me angry Butterfield vibes. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm at least not getting his like death, anger vibes like I was allegedly from the other guy. So I believe him that he doesn't care about her. She might have been in the sphere of his issues, but I don't think that he's like concerned about going to get her, you know? Not like the Butterfield guy.
um I'm trying to better myself and do the work, and which certainly this involving the courts with this has not been helping, but that's yeah.
Right.
I just want to
Okay.
put this behind me.
Yeah, alrighty. And are you pretty good about your attendance at your sessions?
Yeah, I try to attend as many times as I can. I don't think I've ever been absent at the group ones, and the only time I haven't attended personal was due to my therapist not being able to make it. So,
Right. Okay. And how about medications? Do you take?
How about him, Judge? That's a great time for a med check here, folks. What a med check is if you take meds, think about taking them. When do you take them next? When do you last take them? What do you got to do? If you don't take meds, well, come on down to the chat and tell us what that's like. Loud Elvis, we were talking about you earlier and your pistachio humble brag. Good to see you.
Prescribed medications?
no, not there's been conversation to sort of look into that and see if um it's needed, but not at the moment.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just share with you this doesn't have anything to do with whether I'm going to enter an order or not, but I'm the county's mental health court judge, and so I have a calendar full of people who are struggling with various issues. And yeah, I'll just share with you that one of the things that is pretty noticeable from this experience is that some folks just say, no, I want to handle it myself. I'll figure it out, even though I'm struggling. And sometimes my behavior isn't what I want it to be, but I'll figure out how to set the guardrails for that. And they do that even though a therapist has recommended that they might take medications to assist them in making it easier to deal with those. And the folks who try to do it themselves are the ones that I see struggle the most. Sometimes there are organic things going on that no matter how much.
But please don't let that dissuade you. I know people that have kicked habits by themselves. So it's not the only way. It just is harder.
power you have. You can't overcome, what your body's telling you to do. And medications can assist in that regard. So I would just say be open to that idea as opposed to being one of the folks who says, no, I'm going to do it on my own. And, there are a variety of reasons why, but I would just suggest that to you, at least be open to it and talk to a therapist about it.
Can I say one last thing, Judge?
No, Ms. Seasmond, you don't need to.
Okay.
All right. So, Mr. Marthew, I am going to order that you have no contact with Ms. Season and not, go to her apartment in the building if you are in the building. I cannot, as I've made clear to both of you, that to restrict you from the building, but she's concerned, particularly it sounds like when you are, having significant anxiety or stress, that the behaviors sometimes manifest themselves in a way that scares her. So you're obviously fully cognizant of that during this hearing. I don't see any problem here with you understanding that. And so just understand that and figure out how you're going to deal with that so that you don't cross the terms of this order if you're visiting your father and stepmother at that location.
Okay.
All right, Ms. Season One, this order will be in effect for 1 year from today's date. If you want it renewed, you have to come back to court. There will be no distance restriction in here. This will just say that you're to have no contact with Ms. Season One and you're not to go to the door of her section of the residence.
Thank you, Judge.
All right. Thank you both. Good luck, Mr. Marthew.
You too.
Wow. I am a little bit shocked about that. Are you guys a little bit shocked? I certainly am. Oh, wait. I want to be behind this, like that. Guys, I appreciate you being here tonight. If you are new, welcome. If you weren't, welcome back. I so appreciate hanging out with you, and we do this every single night, pretty much. Tomorrow, we don't know what we'll be watching. It depends on what I find during the day, but I appreciate each and every one of you. I want to remind you to please make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. It is very, very, very helpful to me. We are on a march to 1,000. Please make sure that you've liked the video or disliked it and leave a comment if you really want to impress me. I read them all. And thank you again to everybody who donated tonight. I so appreciate you. I want to tell you to remember that I love you. I'm proud of you. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Tomorrow, I would say 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock East, maybe earlier. Love you guys.